a South African transit camp in the Western Desert. January 1944. The war is nearly 5 years old.
Waiting for the boyfriend, By the way, I wonder if they're going to bring John along. I don't know. Why? I don't like him. He's always running us down.
Oh, you mustn't take him seriously. He runs everyone down.
Maybe he does. Sorry. But why does he keep saying that women shouldn't be in the army?
I don't think he means anything by it. After all, he knows perfectly well the girls have done a good job.
I'll say they have. Oh, well, as long as my George is coming along. By the way, I wonder what's keeping them. The show ought to be starting by now.
Never mind, let's go. We can keep seats for them.
My dear. This is going to be your lucky day.
Come on, Jack, are you ready? The girls must be waiting.
Well, I'm ready, but what about him?
Nerves.
Say, what's wrong with you, old fellow? You've been like this for days.
Yes, sure. What do you expect? Haven't I been hanging around here long enough? I've had this war.
Huh. War. What do you know about war? What do you know about real destruction? About the suffering of the women and children who had to endure war in its most horrible form? And has it struck you that it might easily have happened to your own people? Destruction.
So what?
So you lie here and complain. Don't you realize, man, our job is only half done?
What job?
The job of beating the Hun. And after that, rebuilding our world.
Rebuilding our world? How can I rebuild a world?
Perhaps not you as an individual, but all of us together. Why, we've already started. We've got to finish the job.
Well, 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 talking of jobs. My job right now is to take my girl to the concert, and I'm going. What about you?
I'll see you later. I first want to bring a little light into the darkness of his ignorance.
Okay, you rebuild your world. My world is waiting for me, and I've got to do a spot of building up myself. Cheerio.
Cheerio.
The world cause of freedom is also our cause, and we shall wage this war for human freedom till God's victory crowns the end. With these words, General Smuts, in those desperate days at the beginning of the war, rallied his people to play its part in the smashing of the fascist menace on the continent of Africa.
Wherever you may be, whatever you may do, remember that you are South Africans and that our name and honor is in your care. Keep it safe and high. Farewell, my friends, and may God bless you and prosper the right.
And so the great trek started. From 28,000 men in 1939, a combined strength of 300,000 men and women of all sections of this small nation rallied to the call. Of the white population, 1 out of every 3 men volunteered for full-time service. On the home front, to meet the new emergency, a tremendous effort was made to provide vital war materials. Despite limited resources of machinery and manpower, South Africa was determined to equip her men, who were already moving to the front. By the end of 1940, the Springboks were ready to strike in East Africa. Men and supplies were continually coming up from the south. The Air Force, still in the early stages of development, took up its battle stations and did a great job in virgin territory. Pushing ever northward, these volunteers from South Africa traveled further and further from their native land in this fight against the common enemy. Vast areas were covered. Bridges in remote places were built. By May 1941, Italian Somaliland and Abyssinia were conquered. The way was now clear for Allied ships to take men and materials to the Middle East. Men from one end of Africa to the other end of Africa. Then came the years of desert warfare. Long months in the hot, blistering wastes of Libya. The ebb and flow of battle in a sea of sand. These were the days of changing fortune, of events which will live long in human memory. The gallant stand at Sidi Rezeg when the guns fired to the last round. The grievous losses at Tobruk. The capture of the Axis strongholds of Bardia, Salum and Halfaya. The surrender of the first Nazi general to an Allied force. In all this time, the work of the engineers and signalers, which had started in East Africa and Abyssinia, which reached a particular climax in the construction of the defenses of El Alamein, went on. Theirs was the work of construction, not of destruction. In the face of every obstacle, they persevered. By telephone, telegraph, road and rail, North Africa and the Middle East were being opened up and linked with other parts of the world. Before 1941, communications were a major problem. Roads across the desert to carry the victorious Allied armies had to be constructed. Particularly in northern Palestine and Syria, something had to be done. New roads were built, but a railway line to link Haifa and Tripoli was necessary. The great Lebanon mountains were in the way, and a number of tunnels had to be cut. So the South Africans were asked whether they could help. It was the beginning of the wet season, and working conditions could not have been worse.
I wonder if it's really worth all this. Well, everybody's got a job to do, you know.
Chaps from the mines were formed into tunneling companies and started work as soon as they arrived in Syria. No hardship prevented them from keeping bright and cheerful. On the lonely rocky coast of Lebanon, this last link connecting the Middle East and Europe was completed in record time, including the famous Checker Tunnel and 3 other tunnels to the south. When all was ready, the South Africans came to run the railway which they had built. In the Litani River area, not far away, the tunnelers had another job to do. To meet the problem of food production for the local population, they constructed a series of irrigation tunnels which were to divert the waters of the river by means of an aqueduct. This makes possible the irrigation and cultivation of 9,000 acres of fertile land. These were some of the contributions of the men who came of their own free will, not to destroy, but to build, to create values which will live for generations to come. Who came from the hills and valleys of a distant land to share in the common struggle and the common destiny of all the free peoples of the world.
Well, old boy, I think I'm beginning to understand.
Hey, the concert's over. Can you beat it? Here I've been yapping, and now look what's happened. What will Mary say?
It's all my fault, Mary.
Yes, I know. You always have an excuse.
Onwards, in unity and strength, South Africa goes forward to greet the new horizon, to share the challenge of the future as it has shared the dangers of the past, to play its part in the creation of a new world. If, in that world, all humanity will conquer the greed, the lust for power that causes war, if man's power to build in peace for the common good will be no less than his power to destroy, then will begin tomorrow.